Hi there, I'm Michelle Stanley with Moksha Living, and today I'm here with one of our newest clinicians, Ann Howard, and today we're going to be talking about loneliness and ways to be able to cope with loneliness. So I guess in starting off, I would say that loneliness is not something that people want to admit to or want to share about. So, and I probably don't even know that you are lonely if you're lonely. So can you tell us a little bit about what loneliness is and how somebody would know if they were even lonely in the first place?
Yeah, so loneliness is an internal subjective experience. It does not directly correlate with the number of people, of social relationships, of people we have in our lives. It is truly our experience of feeling disconnected, wanting wanting a deeper relationship in reference to the quality versus the quantity. And you're right, Michelle. Most people don't want to identify as feeling lonely. And on the surface, they may have tons of friends, have a partner, be married, close family relationships, but still experience loneliness.
Yeah, and so it's one of the things that it sounds like you're talking about is that loneliness has a lot to do with the quality of the relationships that you have and not necessarily the quantity of the relationships. And also it sounds like it has to do with the degree of closeness that we experience.
And that discrepancy between what my actual relationships are and look like versus what I want them to look like.
That's a really good point. And I think that when people think of that, what my relationships are versus what I would like them to look like, they often feel helpless. There's nothing that they can do to be able to get more closeness or make their relationships look more like the way that they want.
Right. A lot of times we convince ourselves that it's good enough. Things are fine. We have friends. It's really hard to make friends as an adult.
Yeah.
Let's just say that and put that out there.
Yeah, totally, because we're not in school anymore, and we don't have these natural mores, pathways to be able to make friends. So I think that you've got some ideas or some solutions that people can use or practice to be able to develop more closeness in their relationships or be able to make friends, I guess. I think people in their 20s, when you get out of school or you get out of college and you no longer have the go-to happy hour or the house party, then you're kind of, people are really, especially in this city, because we have a lot of that population.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that people can do to be able to develop more closeness in their relationships and deal with loneliness as it shows up in this modern day?
Yeah, so I think the first step often is doing exactly what we're talking about now, putting a label on it, identifying with it, sharing that experience with others that, hey, yeah, things are fine, things are great, but I'm feeling a little lonely. Yeah. You'd be surprised at how common that experience is and what it can do to foster and deepen relationships. That being said, we're not advocating that this be shared just completely without any discretion. And only with folks in your life that may already be comfortable, that you sense some safety or there is some level of connection already, but truly just identifying, putting a label on it, and seeking for others to know us better. Sometimes we have to make the first move.
Yeah, and it sounds like when you do that, if you were to share, things are fine, things are great, but sometimes I feel lonely, that it's also an opportunity to be a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that vulnerability is, one of the things that is necessary for connection and also intimacy.
Absolutely.
So whether it's sharing that you're lonely or sharing it's something that you're struggling with is one of the ways to deepen a connection with somebody.
Yes.
And I guess that's another thing that I hear people talk about specifically is they feel like they have friends and they're perhaps have a social circle, but they feel like everybody's sort of existing on this superficial level.
Exactly.
So they want to really know, are there practical ways that you can start to deepen your relationships with people that you maybe already have a some kind of relationship with.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that sharing and being vulnerable is one. I also, put yourself out there a little bit. Throw a dinner party. Get tickets to a comedy show. Move into that sort of active organizer stance. And when you are the one bringing folks together, who may or may not know each other, or may not know each other well, or there's something really empowering about that. And that we often are pretty passive about and unsure of ourselves, and end up kind of doing nothing because we're
making assumptions, or we're getting kind of like, I think people often assume that nobody would want to go, or they actually start to feel like on autopilot in their social life, and they start to feel bored, or like they're not really getting anything out of their social experiences, but they're not realizing their own role in being able to create a different kind of social experience. And maybe I think people also assume that if they made a different suggestion that people wouldn't go along with it.
True. And then how would we know that until we try? That we, stepping outside the comfort zone of simply bringing a group together is one start, but also move beyond happy hour. This city has so much to offer, so many opportunities to do things that are free, interesting, active,
cultural, and fun,
and fun.
And
we all talk about how much it has to offer, and then often kind of spend the weekend whiling away.
Exactly.
In our beds watching Netflix, which has its time and place for sure. But if you're finding that that's no longer restorative or rejuvenating.
Yeah, and I guess that, when you think about that, it also makes it, clear that you have to plan, or do some thinking. If you want to, do something on the weekend, you can't probably just, wake up, be like, okay, where's my social life? Saturday, I really want to do something and I'm bored. Right. But, making some plans.
Making some plans in advance, and being mindful and intentional about how you spend your free time. We all have very little of it, it seems. True. And so really kind of getting to know ourselves in a better way, what we like to do and enjoy doing, and inviting others to join us.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about making friends in a city, especially where you're new or you may not already have friends. And then I guess there's also this element of I noticed that there's a lot of people that have moved here from a place where they had relationships, or they're living away from family, or they're living away from loved ones, and they kind of feel I hear people say this all the time, all my close friends don't live here, and just kind of feel like this is the relationships they're finding here are damper, and they start to feel a little bit depressed, even just being separated.
It is really hard to be separated. That's a really common experience of people who move to DC after college, and at any time really. So that common experience, and staying connected to loved ones from afar, it can be as simple as scheduling time to talk, hopping on FaceTime instead of a simple phone call. Yeah, that can really, really preserve and restore bonds. It's free of distractions.
Yeah,
I mean, who doesn't do 20 different things when they're on the phone with people in the background? And it also gives you an opportunity to really see and work from seeing your loved one's face.
Yeah,
that makes us feel good.
I love that. I think that's a really just that difference of thank God for FaceTime, but that allows us to be able to see someone's face, and it's a totally different experience when you get to connect to someone, and see their face and watch their expressions. And I guess what you're saying is, as we're being more intentional about time, is that in addition to scheduling time and being an organizer and advocating to do things that we want to do in our life, that we also make time with loved ones to connect with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Even if they're living far away.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So I think these are some really great tips for people that are, experiencing loneliness or want more of a deeper connection in their relationships. And I understand that you're also trying to bring people together who are in their 20s, women that are in their 20s who are looking to develop more significant friendships.
Yes. Stay tuned for more opportunities to do so. And you can get in touch with me directly via our website.
Yeah, we'll leave the links below for the website,
Yes.
and also feel free to share the video and also to comment below, ask us questions. We look forward to hearing from you, and we would love to stay connected.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Until next time.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.